Hi everyone, bipolar astrophotographer here. Thought I would try to do kind of a quick-ish video today. I have an appointment to get to in a little while, and I just want this to be maybe a little bit more nuts and bolts than the last couple videos that I've done. So I'm going to start this one with a poem. It's one of my favorite poems ever. It's not very long. It's by, oh gosh, it keeps going away when I tap on it. Quote by Robert Browning Hamilton. I walked a mile with pleasure, she chatted all the way, but left me none the wiser for all she had to say. I walked a mile with sorrow, and ne'er a word said she, but oh, the things I learned from her when sorrow walked with me. That can be related to so many things. I do, for this conversation, I'm going to relate it to bipolar. The sorrow in this poem is bipolar disorder, and bipolar disorder has been the greatest teacher for me to learn how to take better care of myself overall. It kind of made me look at myself really closely and change some things that really needed changing in my life. So I went down on that article that I was talking about in my last video on acceptance and resignation. And it's a long, long article. And it's got some very good points, some of which I've already discussed. But at the very bottom, there was like 5 points at the bottom that were just so great. So I thought we would just kind of bullet run through them real quick. So let me shrink myself here. And let me find my own thing here where I want to go. So some of these are just kind of basic. Eat better. Take out the caffeine in your life. Try healthier foods, a healthier diet, exercise. Those are always tips for kind of anything you're going through. So that's more of a like generalized thing. Move your body right here. Think tasks through. This one is really interesting, and I think that the more well-minded you get on your journey with treating your bipolar disorder, the more able you are to do this without having to think about it so much. But they give you an example here. So before tackling a task, rate its difficulty from 1 to 10. If the task is over a 4, consider what it is about the task that trips you up and anticipate what you need to complete it successfully. I think I kind of do that subconsciously now with something that comes up. I'm like, if a problem comes up in my life, let's just say it's not a test or an exam for school or something, but if a problem comes up in my life and I'm like, okay, who do I need to call? What questions do I need to ask? How can I keep my emotions in check? How can I do this rationally and calmly and be friendly in the process? Like there's this whole thing that I just kind of go through to get to that place. So I do think that the more mindfulness techniques that you put into your daily life, the thinking the task through is going to come more naturally to you. Recognize your own courage. This is a really, really good one. And I love what they say here. But you need to. It says acknowledge your hard work every day. And we need to lower our standards for what hard work is when we're talking about mental illnesses. I get up, I make the bed, I get myself fixed, I come downstairs, I have my coffee, I do my thing, I have my routine, and all of those are victories. And we shouldn't discredit any of that as small tasks. Those are big tasks when you're dealing with mental illness and you're doing it well and you're setting yourself up to have a day that you can manage kind of whatever comes. And if something really terrible comes, you've at least started out taking care of the little basics in life that are really huge points when you're dealing with bipolar disorder or mental illness. I loved this. Consider leaving yourself words of encouragement or reminders of recent accomplishments on sticky notes in noticeable places like your bathroom mirror, fridge, or front door. You can even take a photo of the notes and make it the lock screen or background photo on your phone. I need to do this. I have never done that, and I absolutely love that. I want to put little notes in places that I see. I have a little thing on my hearth for my fireplace, and it says, be kind to yourself. Like things like that, just to have in my face more often. I love that idea. Practicing self-compassion. This is I love how they worded this kind of a little bit lower, but I'll read the intro anyway. Whenever you find that you're criticizing yourself, which we're all good at, I don't care if you have mental illness or not, we're all good at just cutting ourselves to the core. Try to do the opposite. Have compassion for what you're going through, and remember that other people with bipolar disorder are going through something similar. You're not alone. We may not have the same journey, but It's similar. And we can remember that when we're in these places of, wanting to beat ourselves up over some really things that really aren't important. For a tangible practice, try the self-compassion break from researcher Kristen Neff, PhD, which you can revise to reflect what resonates with you. Say, this is really hard. I'm not alone. Put your hand over your heart and ask yourself, what do I need to do right here now to express kindness to myself? You might follow up with, I forgive myself. Forgiveness is a process. In my past let me pull this up. In my past with friends who walked away, I put it in quotes, who walked away and stepped away after my diagnosis, forgiveness is ongoing. It's very similar to acceptance in that way. It's something that you don't just do overnight and you're done. It's a process. All of it is a process. Learning to accept your diagnosis, learning to accept where you landed on the path that you're on when you didn't plan to be here, learning to forgive somebody or yourself. It's a daily thing. It's not a quick thing. And we all need to practice that. I know that has helped me let a lot of things go that I shouldn't have ever carried to begin with. Okay, let's go here. Cut back on the caffeine. I mentioned that earlier. My coffee is always decaf. Now I know it might have a little bit of decaf in it. A little bit of caffeine in it. But I don't drink it at night. I drink it in the afternoon or morning, and then I'm done for the day. One of these, and I'm done. Now we're going to get to the hard part. I haven't talked much about this because this is a very, very difficult situation to broach. This is the topic of suicide. And I read somewhere when I was doing research after my diagnosis that's the mental illness that is most associated with suicide is bipolar disorder. Type 1, type 2, doesn't matter. It's the number one illness with the highest rates of suicides. So it's very important for you to know that about yourself and know the contact information of who you can get in touch with if that is something you're on the verge of. And I don't talk about it much because it's a very touchy subject and I'm not a professional and I don't feel qualified to. But I will read what this professional wrote about it here. Thoughts of suicide are common in bipolar disorder, particularly during deep depressive episodes and mixed states when a person is energized but agitated and depressed. If you or someone you know is considering suicide, you are not alone. Help is available right now. Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. I'm going to link this into the description, even though it's part of this article. I'm going to do both. I'm going to link the article again, and then I'm going to link all of these here. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, the crisis text line, and any other information I might look for and add it to it, because this is something that you do not want to take lightly. Our thoughts with bipolar disorder, I think our thoughts as human beings in general, we lie to ourselves. We have horrible thoughts about ourselves. We tell ourselves things that aren't true all the time. And part of managing mental illness is knowing when thoughts are rational and thoughts are irrational. There was a quote that I came across years ago, and it said, and I loved it. It said, the pendulum of the mind doesn't swing between right and wrong. It swings between sense and nonsense. And in order to know which thoughts are sensical and which ones are nonsensical, you do need help with that sometimes. You need to do the work. You need to take the steps. And the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline and the Crisis Text Line, those are there for you 24/7 to get help. And really, I'm no professional, but if you are just at the end of your rope, write me at the bipolaraastrophotographer@gmail.com. I'm more than willing to try to lift you out of that hole a little bit and get you on a better path. Even if it's not me walking you through it, but just giving you suggestions of who to contact for it. I'm more than willing to do that. This is what's next. Bipolar disorder may be a challenging condition, but if you can effectively manage it and lead a full healthy life. Don't be afraid to discuss any concerns you may have or challenges you may be facing with your treatment team and trusted allies. Together, you can work out how to maximize medication, minimize triggers, and optimize your treatment plan. I think that's it for this. But yeah, I really did want to talk about some of the ways. My mouse is going really slow here. I'll just make my screen bigger. I did want to talk about some of the ways that you can care better for yourself. Because when you care for yourself, you're better for everyone. You're better for yourself first and foremost, but everybody in your life is benefited by you caring for yourself. And caring for yourself does include things like exercise, diet, nutrition, vitamins. I take vitamin D because, you know, we're in a place where in the winter it's pretty dark, pretty early. So I take vitamin D. I take melatonin to help me sleep. I make sleep a priority. I think that sleep is probably the number one thing on that list of caring for yourself. If you can get your sleep in check first, everything else you're going to want to do because you're going to have a clear mind. You're going to have a rested mind. And that is the goal for somebody, well, with all people, but with mental illness especially, we need to be more mindful of it than maybe somebody else who doesn't have mental illness. So those were the basic bullet points I wanted to talk about today. I know it's a little bit shorter of a video. I'm just trying to navigate where I want to go with this channel. I thought finishing this article and kind of running through what I found really most important through it is a great way to kind of bookend this part of acceptance versus resignation. I don't know what's coming next. I want to do an interview with my mom. I would like to do it with her before we go to the eclipse. So hopefully she and I can set up a time where we can do kind of a conversation together. So you have not just a person talking about mental illness who lives with it, but you have their parent who watched all of it and was there through all of it and remembers things that I don't and can help from a different perspective. So please stay tuned for that. That is definitely going to come. I want to do that with her soon. We've just been busy with company. She had eye surgery. So now it's getting to be the time. So hopefully I can set that up with her very, very soon. Would love to do that. Anyway, wanted to just drop this out there. I've been thinking about, I just want to continue to put positive energy and uplifting words here on my YouTube channel. I just want to help, put out the options for people who feel hopeless, because I've been there too. And I think that you have more options than you may know, and hearing it from somebody new and fresh may help. And that's the reason for all of this. So hopefully the next thing that we do with shooting the sky will be the eclipse, because I don't know that we'll have much time to prepare for deep space, but if we can, we'll throw in a deep space night before we leave to head down to see the eclipse. So I'm so excited, and of course I will be putting our whole journey about that on here, even if we get clouded out, because that's life. And that's another thing that you have, if that happens, there's a story in practicing acceptance in and of itself. All right, everybody, you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day. It's Wednesday? Have a great rest of your week. I don't know when I'll be back on, but it will be soon. Promise you that. All right, take it easy, everybody, and self-care isn't selfish. Bye now.